talking to Mark again. Spoke to you there last year. Mark, I'm just sort of curious. You've 1 year under your belt now in terms of League Two football. You're facing into another season. How excited are you in terms of the campaign ahead? And do you think that you really sort of maybe learned a bit as well from the campaign last year?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, I'm sure I have. I'd be silly not to. I mean, you never know everything, so that was a new experience last year. Certainly, I think I mentioned to the guys in the room here a couple of weeks back about the experience of the playoffs. I didn't particularly enjoy that, if I'm honest. Certainly not the result at the end. That was something I hadn't experienced as a manager before. So I've got that knowledge. Ideally, we won't have to use it. We can go up straight rather than having to go through that process again. But yeah, it's a different league. It's a strong league, and the quality in the league is arguably higher this year. So we'll have to be really mindful of the challenge ahead of us. But we're ready for it. We're one of the better teams in this league. I feel we were last year, and we will be this year. So we've got to make sure that we prove that on a weekly basis.
And Mark, you mentioned that in terms of pushing for promotion, and obviously Bradford is a big club. It's a big history. I can remember when I was playing in the Premier League myself, and obviously you will look at clubs and the stature and the sizes in League One, and you feel that that is probably where Bradford most deservedly belongs, but you probably know you have to earn your spot and you earn your crust to get there. So do you feel maybe that in terms of looking ahead towards the season, how important will it be that you're up there in terms of in the playoff positions come Christmas to give yourself that position where you can really charge come the tail end of the season?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to be in and around it all season, like we were last year. There's very few weeks where we weren't in the top half. So that's important again, just to keep everybody enthused by what we're trying to do. I think it's not a given that if you struggle in the first half of the season that you're not going to get anywhere near promotion places. I think if you look at Stockport, and maybe this is something that Wrexham will find. Certainly early part of the season, Stockport came up and they were viewed as a very good team, and they were. A lot of people felt that they would have a really strong push to get promotion, but initially they found the first half of the season difficult. So if you take my point, it's not always a given if you have a poor start that you can't still turn that round and make sure you finish with a successful season. So ideally you want to be arguably setting the pace if we can. I think why not? But a lot of teams will have something to say about that. But we've had the experience. The vast majority of the group last year are with us again, and they've had the experience of going week in, week out, and having to bang results out. And for the most part, we did that. So we're quite excited by what's ahead of us.
And I suppose, Mark, I know promotion is a big thing for you and it's a big aim for Bradford City, but I'm sort of curious in terms of how you view the cup competitions, especially the League Cup for League One and League Two teams. Do you see that as a realistic chance for maybe for a team like Bradford to get silverware as well in terms of the season? How do you view that? Or do you view it as a team going for promotion, that it can be extra games, a bit of a distraction as well?
I'm not quite sure how we view going for silverware, but certainly we want to progress. It's something that is significant for us. If we can progress in cups, then obviously that's a financial gain that the club will gain from, and that's, we never budget for that. But anything that we gain from cup games, obviously, it all goes into the pot, and we can use it maybe further down the line, maybe come January, when maybe if we feel we're a little bit short in certain areas, then we can use that money that we've generated to go into the market again. So cup competitions are more about trying to progress, trying to financially gain from those progressions if we can. If we find ourselves in the semi-final or final, we might talk more about silverware. But initially, it's more about progressing and hopefully earning a little bit of coin to put in the pot.
Yeah, and you mentioned that current airing in the pot, and obviously in terms of League Two teams, you have massive connections in the game in terms of the loan market and being able to use your connections with clubs higher up the table, maybe to acquire one or two players. Is there a trickle down effect though in terms of clubs in the Championship waiting to know if players are staying or going before they release one or two players for loan? Is it teams in League Two, do you almost have to wait until the final few weeks or two for that transfer market in terms of a special loan talent? Say, for example, a Southampton might be one waiting to know if James Ward-Prowse stays or goes before they release maybe a young talent further down to the loan market. Is it a sort of decisive sort of period in time that you're waiting for maybe that domino effect to take place?
Yes. You pretty much answered the question. That's what happens. You have to be a little bit patient and wait for everybody to come back from their tours. And sometimes young players get taken on these tours just to fill the numbers in and allow them to obviously rotate the more senior players when they're trying to get minutes on the clock. So yeah, you have to be a little bit patient. We did the same last year. We were able to get like Scott Banks in, who did very well for us, but I think we'd already started the season when he joined us. So maybe the case again. We're hopeful of still going into the loan market if we can and bringing some more talent to help us. But it's not a given. We'll just see what's out there if we can.
And finally, for me, I suppose this is about Bradford City, but I cannot help to just touch US celebrities in charge of Wrexham. They're going to bring crowds and TV audiences from the States, and in terms of viewing, and more attention and publicity is going to be on League Two maybe this year than previous sort of years as well, just due to that sort of fan base. Is that something that's good for the division in one sense, in terms of is all publicity good publicity in terms of maybe attracting more viewers, more interest in terms of League Two? Is that good for English football in one sense, or is it something do you pay little or heed or no attention to?
No, I think it's good for the league. The league pyramid. There's huge interest in obviously Premier League and to a lesser extent Championship. League One, I think arguably this year the League Two is on a par in terms of the interest given the clubs that's in and around. And if you look at possibly the top of League Two and the bottom of the teams you expect to be the bottom of League One, I don't think there's too much difference. And arguably we've got more high-profile teams than I haven't gone through the list, but I'm just surmising that given the ones that are in our league, we could well be more high-profile than the bottom half of League One. So yeah, that's how the league is going to shape up this year. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Okay, Mark Hughes, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Jim.